Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia. Today we're upcycling a sled and making a Christmas swag with a banner tail bow. Doesn't it sound like fun? Let's get started. So it looks like we have a Humpty Dumpty situation over here with this project. There is a picture of Santa. This was Mod Podged on here. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to clean this and I'm just going to do my best to sand it down because as I said, we're going to paint over it. So not a big deal. Okay, so I sanded down as much as I could on the outside, here on top, and I mean, this is the best I could do without an electric sander, so that would be the optimum. So I did put it on its little belly over here, and I'm grabbing these tongue depressors, and these are like the thick ones, the big ones, and it looks like I need to cut them in half, and I'm just going to use my little wire cutters here. And I'm just going to staple as many of them as I can so they have a nice big hold. I got this, as you can see, it says Goodwill here, $2.99, and it was Christmas in July sale. So I ended up paying $1.50 for this. I mean, it was broken, I understand, but you know, I saw potential in it. I'm just using a stapler. Next, I'm going to do the other side because this one's kind of wobbly here. I want to make sure that it catches it straight. And look at this, it's holding on really well, but look at the hole in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this spackling, and this is from the Dollar Tree. I'm filling in with the light spackling all over here, like because it has little bumps. We're going to sand this down later when it's nice and dry. But for the middle there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of tape here. I just have some movers tape on here, and the reason I'm doing that is when I'm putting my spackling through, it won't go to the bottom. Cover all those little holes. I gave a little bit of spackling throughout, but in the middle, I made kind of like a little dome, just a little bit higher, because when spackling will dry, it will get like sucked in and become smaller. All right, now that it's nice and dry, I'm going to sand it down nice and smooth, and I'm just using a Dollar Tree sanding block. Then grabbing a big brush, I'm just going to take as much of this dust off as possible. To paint, I'm just grabbing regular black acrylic paint. Okay, so my black paint is drying. As you can tell, there's still patches where it's drying. I'm going to start with my white chalk paint, and you want a nice flat brush for this. And I'm just going to go slowly right against the edges and paint both of the sides of the sled with this white chalk paint. I'm going to dry brush this just a tiny bit, and literally this is how much paint I'm getting on the brush. And even there, because there's little globs, I'm going to just put it on the napkin right here and just kind of, I mean, very lightly, just at the bottom, kind of on the sides, because don't forget, all of this is going to get covered. If you don't like this type of look, that's fine. I mean, literally, I just did tiny bit. I'm going to do the same thing on these, but obviously here I'm going to be using black. Tiny dip, and just here and there, not much. Today I'm co-hosting a challenge that's called Make It Modern Challenge, and it is being hosted by my friend Mia from Make It with Mia. On her channel you will find budget-friendly farmhouse DIYs and much more. The link to her channel and the playlist will be in my description box, so please click on the playlist and see what all the creators did for this challenge. When I was done, I felt like, you know that bar that goes on a sled? I thought that was missing. And you can either use a stir stick, or I have this one, and it just fits kind of perfectly. I know it's a little wide, but if I move it kind of towards the middle of the leg area, it's not so bad because the legs themselves are a little bit long. I'm painting this plank white on the front and all sides, and then I'm going to distress it just like we did with the legs here, just a tiny bit. Next, I'm going to grab these ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They come in a pack of 6. And I'm going to remove this white thread right here. Then I'm grabbing a floral wire that's a little bit rigid. And right there where I took the little piece of ribbon off, I'm just going to put a wire through. This is just to get our little tiny wire through. Just give it a decent amount. You could give them different heights because we're going to put them higher, lower. And all we're going to do is just bring it together, give it a few twists. That way when we hang them, we can definitely hang them with this side in the front, and this is not going to show. It's green, it's going to blend in with the greenery. Next, I'm grabbing some mini pine picks, and how many you're going to need will depend on how big your surface is that you're going to do the swag on. You can also do the swag if you don't have a sleigh. You could do this in a picture frame. Very easy, very simple, but it's going to have the same elegant effect. These particular picks do have a little bit of snow on them, but I'm going to go ahead and just dry brush. And here's the difference with and without. Do you see what I mean? It's so pretty, so easy. It dries in 0.3 seconds. It's not a big deal. Make sure you get the endings because when the snow falls, it falls on the endings first, on the branch endings. All right, my friends, let's get to the fun part. This is my bottom. This is my top. And I'm going to show you how to do this in case you're not going to put on a sled. We need some sort of a base. For the base, I'm going to use this frosted greenery from the Dollar Tree. It has little white berries on it. And what we first want to do is measure how long we want it. Now, if you're not using something, if this is going to be on the door or something, I would just go 3, there's these little sections, go 3 or 4 down, and just bend it. And if you bend it again, you have a little loop. Now it's time to just put this aside, not too far, and get our greenery out. I'm going to put it in a little V shape. So 1 is going to be at the bottom and 2 at the sides. And the really cool thing about these picks is because of the wire right here, it's very easy to just twist it around and get it set in place. The swag is going to be an upside down teardrop or a triangle. So we want the longest tip in the middle, these 2 right here, and then this is going to go on top, and on the sides we're going to have those 2. Here I'm just going to use a floral wire and I'm just going to attach it in place. Next, I'm going to do another pair of 3. Now this one is going to be a little wider right there. Just going to grab a long piece of wire, twist it right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it in between this one. There you go. And in between these 2. And then I would also grab another piece of wire and I would twist it to our base, which is the greenery with the berries. Are we seeing a swag forming already? Grabbing another piece of wire, and I'm going to attach this whole bundle. Now we're just going to start filling branches in to start covering things we don't want shown. So I kind of want to put it in between our base right here. Once everything is in place, you either start wiring things in place or hot gluing things in place. You know, anything that's sticking out, that's loose, you just wrap, twist, and if you can, hot glue it in the back where it's not shown. Anything like this sticking out, I'm just going to bend it behind my wreath here. Now that it's in place, we're going to bring our ornaments, and where it's twisted, right here where we twisted it, we're going to bend it up so it's facing forward, and that way you're not going to see any of that. So first I'm going to just lay them out where I feel like they would look really pretty. You know what? I decided I'm just going to have 3. If I feel like adding more, I will. But right now I kind of feel like I want to keep it simple. Now that I have it the way I want it, I'm going to go and hot glue it in place. I just painted another branch and I'm just going to put it right here to cover this area. Next, I'm going to grab this wooden Merry Christmas sign that I got at the Dollar Tree, and also grabbing a Santa Red by Americana, and I'm going to paint it nice and red. After my Merry Christmas is nice and dry, grabbing some white paint, and you guessed it, we're going to dry brush it on the edges. Now we're going to grab our little plank and hot glue the Merry Christmas straight in the middle. For the bow, I decided to do 2 simple bows stacked. I'm going to be using this underneath, and I have this in my stash. This one is going to go on top. I just like the red and white contrast because we have that going on here. Then red, white also on the ornaments. And I think it's going to work together really nicely. First, I'm going to measure how long I want the tail. And I'm going to actually give myself about 1 inch slack. Then I'm going to make my bow. I'm just going to do a dot of glue in between both of the layers. I'm going to fix the tails later, so no worries there. And then same thing with my stripe ribbon. Going to make a simple bow and put it right on top. Now I'm grabbing another piece of ribbon, and this is for the bow that was in the back. And I'm just going to fold it over. And this is going to be our center. Just fold it in 3. Here, I'm going to do what I usually like doing with bows like this, is I'm going to fold them up in half and then back and back. Going to grab this, hot glue it in place, twist it over once or twice, and I'm just going to hot glue the bow in place. The last thing I'm going to do is take care of the tails. I already did one side to see how I want it. So now I'm just measuring the other side. And I'm going to make little ducktails. The ribbon underneath, I'm going to do just a tiny bit longer. Maybe 1/4 of an inch. And now we're going to do banner tails. I'm going to grab my tail right in the middle and I'm going to fold it up and I'm going to pinch it right here. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Find the middle, fold it up, and pinch it on both sides. Then what we're going to do is holding it just like this. I'm going to push it kind of back and you have a little banner tail. Then this one's going to go right on top of it. Hold it where you pinched it and then bring it back. So this part is looped. Do you see what I mean? It has a little wave there. And just compare the 2 sides, regular tail and a little schmancy banner tail. It makes all the difference in the world. And we just went from a simple bow to a high-end bow just by that little step. So I'm going to do the same thing here. We are all done with our beautiful swag and a little makeover for our sleigh.